KCAA.
Working in the margins. Dealing with our challenges, assessing needs, and finding solutions. Short-term, mid-range, and long-term. Solutions can find us working in the margins. Today's world is a tough baseline. It's more difficult than ever to just exist or get by. And it's not getting any easier. Moving forward in today's world has become both an art and a science. Food, clothing, temporary shelter, long-term housing, short-term jobs, temporary employment, or long-range careers. It all takes some help and finesse. Not everyone can do it. It's an art and a science. And let's face it, not everyone is a scientist. Some people need more help than others. The basics like reliable transportation, internet, laundry, a regular shower, even water, those basics we all take for granted. Electricity, these are the challenges of those caught in the net. Are homeless, unhoused, housing challenged, living in the margins. People of all ages, young, middle-aged, senior citizens, entire families, male, female, all reasons and all walks of life. Anyone can find themselves living in the margins. Homelessness and the challenges that go with it are not going away, and we can't ignore them. It's just too expensive. We've got to do better. Take the next step forward. Tune in now and listen to Working in the Margins.
Hello, San Bernardino. This is Shazette. This is Working in the Margins. I'm happy to be here. This is Thursday. It's February 27th. It's almost the last day of Black History Month. Tomorrow's the last day, so I have my purple dashiki on. So I'm celebrating. I'm gonna celebrate all. I think I'm gonna celebrate all for the rest of the year till things change. I'm gonna just get dashikis and just wear dashikis. So today, community, I have the honor of having a very dear gentleman that's doing wonderful work here in the community. I've known Anthony Brazier probably, I want to say, a solid 5 or 6 years. We've been working in the same, San Bernardino area doing some of the same work. But Anthony's been out here for over 30 years doing the work. And it's reentry work. He works with our reentry population, and he works with the hardest of some of the hardest to place, which are our sex offender population. And that is honorable and admirable because there's so many stipulations put on that population that it makes it very difficult for them to re-enter society and even start to become contributing adults in society, because there's so many stipulations. They can't live within a certain amount of, depending upon what their conditions of release are, and if they have to register on the sex offenders registry. So Anthony works with this population. He works with all reentry population. He works with all populations. But his gift is to work with this population to really help them stabilize and to get attached to employment services. We work in a county that has a lot of services spread out, so he brings those services in close to his clients to help them. Let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Brazier. Besides that, he's doing great work and is a jewel to our community. I'm going to tell you a little bit. Hold on. So the agency that he is the executive director of, Black Man in Business, y'all, San Bernardino, take note, is Reentry Coordinating and Housing Supportive Services. And he is the executive director, like I said. A little bit about him. We were just talking, and I was like, I'm just going to have you say what you said before, like how you got your start. But you were working in Los Angeles, and you were working with the Minority AIDS program.
Yes. So basically, I started my career actually in my early 20s, and I was going to the University of Northridge, and a friend of mine, and that was through the epidemic of HIV and AIDS. And they actually, I was invited to do some volunteer work on the weekend. And when I started working at Minority AIDS Project, I just sort of found my career.
Yeah.
and that is to help others, be in the helping field. And then over the years, I just sort of traveled through different case management and outreach positions that led me to actually coordinating housing programs
Right.
that were here in San Bernardino, Foothill Age Project, and we covered all of Riverside, San Bernardino, and Los Angeles.
Right.
And then basically I decided I wanted to kind of step out and
Branch out on your own.
branch out on my own, and I've been doing it for about 5 or 6 years,
Okay.
and running my own nonprofit.
That's wonderful. So we do have Foothill AIDS Project in common. I was there for a little while, a couple of years back now. And everybody, you know, a person is about their business when you were there for a while and then you left. And when I got there, it was a big span of time between you leaving and me going there. But the people that were still there loved you. They loved you. They only had wonderful things. Miss Nancy, every time I was like, I saw Anthony, oh, give him a. So it's a testament to who you are as a person and the work that you do. And you're a staple here in San Bernardino. People know what you do, and your business is even picking up. You're picking up a few different contracts. And so that's good to hear. I want you to tell me a little bit about how you started. We're going to use the acronyms, but I'm going to also tell you, because I want you to remember what the name is. It's Reentry Coordinating and Housing Supportive Services. The acronym is RECHSS, but it's the nonprofit. It's Anthony's nonprofit is here in San Bernardino. It's based in San Bernardino, and he brings all his wealth of knowledge to that program, to his program. So tell me why reentry? Why did you say, okay, I'm going to have reentry beds? I'm going to make reentry beds.
Well, I mean, to be truthfully honest with you, throughout my career, I worked with the reentry population. And when I was at Foothill Age Project and when I was at Homeless Healthcare Los Angeles, there was a large population, reentry population, that was not only homeless and without services, but they also were HIV positive.
Right.
And so we did a lot of work around there. So it was just a natural progression. And basically, I had a colleague of mine asked me, did I want to kind of do some housing for San Bernardino parole? And I said, cool. I just bought a house out in San Bernardino, and I had been thinking about kind of being on that end
Right.
of services to actually provide the actual housing. And I ended up with the contract with parole.
That's amazing. And those contracts are not easy to get. You got to be, like I said, you got to be about your business. And you have another contract coming up with the city of Redlands. They're going to be contracting with you for services.
Yes.
And that's wonderful. I know I always I refer people to you. And it's not just us. It's AB 290, correct? Is that the... What?
Well, probation has funding called AB 109.
AB 109.
And so basically, that was actually one of our first post-incarcerated contracts that I got for Foothill Age Project.
Okay.
And because we had, to be in this field and to work with the more, difficult clients, because when I got into this field, working with the HIV and AIDS community was, people were just like, ew.
Yeah,
why would you do that?
Judgy.
And very judgmental and very, why do they need to get hurt?
Because obviously you don't want to help, so somebody's got to help, and that's because people are not educated.
Yeah.
I think we can attest to that. A lot of people who aren't, who have unexpanded viewpoints are pretty narrow. They're kind of narrow-minded. It's just education.
Yeah, and there's so much stigma that
So
was
much.
going on with that particular community.
I know.
And especially when it was attached to the LGBTQ population,
Right.
you had it was just very difficult to try to reach out to the broader community to get services.
Right.
And how I fell in with the 290 population is when we had sex offenders who were not only homeless and some were addicted to drugs, they also were HIV positive. So as a group, as a housing organization at Foothill Age Up Project, we took it our responsibility not just to serve, to help that particular person, but also to help the community.
Yes.
How
yes.
can we get this person on a track so that they can, be housed and in a place where, number one, they won't reoffend. Number two, the potential of passing on the virus lessens. And so it was just
It just makes
our
sense.
obligation.
It makes sense. I love that you said you said responsibility and obligation. I love those words. We're going to take a break real quick. We're going to come back because I just keep talking through all the breaks and everything. But we're going to take a break and we're going to come back. And when we come back, we're going to specifically talk about what reentry programs mean to the community. So San Bernardino, hold on tight. We'll be right back.
KCAA. For several years, KCAA has been marketing the Youngevity brand of nutritional and personal care products. Our experience with Youngevity has been 100% positive, so we are pleased to recommend them to you. Regarding nutritional supplements, we recommend Pollen Burst in the berry flavor and Tangy Tangerine 2.0 in the tablet form. For regularity issues, we recommend 3-Day Cleanse, and for personal care, we recommend Morning Hydration Cream. You can shop online for Youngevity at www.kcaateam.com, or you can order by phone by calling 800-982-3197 and tell customer support that you are part of the KCAA team. Youngevity is an American company based in San Diego. Call Youngevity at 800-982-3197 and ask about monthly auto ship that allows you to buy Youngevity products at wholesale prices. That number again, 800-982-3197.
KCAA.
Where life's much better. So download the app in your smart device today. Listen everywhere and anywhere. Whether you're in Southern California, Texas, or sailing on the Gulf of Mexico, life's a breeze with KCAA. Download the app in your smart device today.
I'll be sailing out of yesterday in the Gulf of Mexico.
KCAA. KCAA.
Hello, San Bernardino. This is Shazette. You're back with Working in the Margins. We are on KCAA TV. Is that what it is? KCAA. Come on, Eric, help me out.
Yeah, we're on KCAA TV as well as on the apps. You guys can download KCAA. Just search that on Apple Store or the Google Play Store as well, and then we'll pop up.
There you go. Thank you. I like to hear Eric do that. So I always
And don't forget, you guys can watch the live stream on KCAAradio.com right now.
Yes. And then we have, we're on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. And we are here in the wonderful building of, it's Kamek Halls, Teamsters Local 1932. I think it's like, now it's like a little media center. We do all our shows and everything out here, but it's wonderful to be here. And Anthony, we're going to come back. Anthony and I were just talking about what it means to the community to have these services and these programs for our reentry clients that are coming out of prison or incarceration. And he made a very good comment. He says it's our responsibility and it's our obligation to these people that they don't go back to jail, that they don't recidivate, that they have the opportunities. And what do we need to do, Anthony, to make sure that that happens?
Well, I think it is bringing the community at large together.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like when I see a human being walk through that door, you know, despite those things that we, you know, want to be critical of that they have committed, when they've done their time,
That's right.
giving them an opportunity to re-enter into society.
Right.
And you just don't know who you might, you know,
Right.
just
Who you might help.
help
Who
or
they're going
inspire
to be. Inspire.
to help other people.
Yes.
And we did a lot of work around that when I was working with Foothill Age Project and agencies like that, is having our clients help others
Right.
so that they will not, you know,
Yeah,
come
so
and get involved. Or,
right.
you know.
It's important to me that we help this population because they're coming back to our cities.
Yes,
They're coming back to our cities, our neighborhoods,
yes.
and we want to create the type of world we want to live in, the type of neighborhoods and cities that we want to live in.
Yes.
And we want people after, and I am in absolute agreement with you, Mr. Brazier, these people have done their time. They have paid their pension to society. So when they come back out, our responsibility is to make sure that these citizens that are coming back to our neighborhoods have the opportunities to be gainfully employed. You know, have good jobs like everybody else, access to good jobs like everybody has access. You know, union jobs. We want them to be able to live. You know, raise their families. A lot of these folks come out and they have families still to raise, children still to raise. We want them to have good neighborhoods, good lives, because if you can contribute to where you live and you are happy where you live, then hopefully you'll want to stay there and do what you have to do, you know, legally and live, you know, and not jeopardize it, you know.
So I use this word, or at least the AA and NA use this word, making amends. Restoring the things that you may have caused. I'm not going to say destroyed, but you may have caused harm to.
Yes.
And for us as providers, those who are in the helping field, you know, don't get me wrong, and I have to be honest, it took me a while to learn to work with the 290 population with an open mind.
With an open mind, yes.
It took me a while.
Right.
But when I start working with that population, and particularly those who wanted to make amends,
Right.
then I started looking at them as human beings.
Yes.
And then we were able to talk to them about, you know, not creating more victims.
Right.
And how do we do that?
Right.
We try to link them, get them
To
into
the services.
stable jobs,
Yes.
stable
Therapies.
housing, therapy, all those things that they need to do, they need to get around them so
Yes.
that, number one, they won't end up back in jail.
Right.
And number two, they won't, and most important, and I keep saying this, not create more victims.
Yes. I love that.
You know.
That's, you know, it's sad sometimes that we let folks out, you know, as a society, and we ask so much of them. You know, we ask so much. You know, we get a job, get a vehicle, get a home, get it, you know, and I was sharing with Anthony that, you know, if somebody's in prison for 32 years, they don't know what all that is. They don't know what tech is. They don't know how important it is or how, you know, how we're addicted to it in this country. You know, some kids only get their news on tech, but how they don't know how important cell phones are, that they're like little mini computers now. They don't know about, the food delivery systems. We didn't have all that 32 years ago. It may have been starting some of this, so I feel the importance of programs, reentry programs, are not only we want to help these folks learn and, contribute and be able to contribute back to society, and have good lives. It's important. I'm going to read a couple of statistics that I found just so you have an idea of community on what the numbers are and why it's so important to give options to our reentry. Oh, it's on my phone. Sorry, people. Hold on. There. Okay. So, over 600,000 people are released from state and federal prisons in the United States each year. Over 600,000. This number also includes people who are released on parole or probation. Recidivism is common, with more than 2/3 of prisoners rearrested within 3 years of their release. Reentry fails. When reentry fails, it can lead to more crime, more victims, and more pressure on the state budgets. Let me go to this other one because it had better numbers. The California profile. Says how many. So we have 101,000 people here in California in state prisons. Local jails, 78,000. We have 4,100 youth offenders incarcerated. And we have 12,000 in federal prisons. Those are some of the numbers. That's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to drill it down a little bit more as
That's
far
a lot
as
of people.
data is concerned. With the 290 population, unfortunately, a lot of people don't know, but San Bernardino, it has the third largest registered 290. Actually, no, they're the second largest registered sex offenders in their county. So we got Los Angeles, San Bernardino second, and then Riverside is third.
Wow.
And so we have a huge population that is just not being served in a manner that is going to reduce the number of homelessness, is going to reduce the number of recidivism, and we can't continue to ignore it. We just can't.
These numbers are stark. They are letting out more low-level offenders and aged offenders out from the prisons. So there was a goal from the governor when he first took office a few years back that he was going to reduce the prison population, especially for low-level offenders, especially around marijuana charges or low-level drug charges, because a lot of things are different now. So, like in California, marijuana is legal. It's recreational, and medicinal is legal. So you have a lot of folks in for selling, getting caught with an ounce or, I hope nobody in there for a gram because that's not working, but, for a little bit, but there's folks in there, people of color mainly too. And the governor says, that's a disproportionate number. And so they're moving these folks back into society, at large rates, at large numbers. And it's important that we know this because they're coming back to the communities that we live in, that they left for whatever time they had to do. They've paid their penance. I'm going to tell you about a client real quick that we have that we're working with right now. He was in jail for 15 years, and then he was part of the Innocence Project. And then he was, it was found that he was innocent of the crime, but he still had 15 years in prison. 15 years, and so much has changed. And we're working with him, you know, because he was incarcerated, even though it was unjust. That happens. We want to embrace him back into our community. You know, we want to make sure that he has a soft place to land and real opportunities.
Exactly. You know, and I also, you know, I think that we as human beings take for granted how we're living in this country.
Yeah.
And we think that, oh, they should be able to get on their 2 feet and
Pull themselves up
pull
out of
them up.
bootstraps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, and we don't really think about, you know, when somebody is incarcerated for that long,
Right.
and now they've got to live and exist in a world that they're not
Right.
used to,
Right.
have not changed with,
Right.
have not experienced with,
Had access to.
having access to. And when I was working at FAP, you know, a lot of the life affirming programming that we did was just getting them back
Back to basics.
basics, because
A phone, IDs.
exactly.
You know, just to being responsible, knowing that, you know, now you have your social security card.
Yeah.
You have, you know, now your jail number is not as important as a social security card number, your driver's license number. You know, you are absolutely right. The work and the resources that it requires to invest into a person in order to get them stabilized back into our communities. But we have wonderful partners in this community. I know you attest to them. You are one to us, and I hope we are to you and to the community. Family Assistance has kind of just said, hey, reentry matters. We're investing in it. We're developing programs, you know, to help with the population. And so we are diligently reaching out to other partners that serve the reentry population to say, hey, let's do this together so we can straddle resources. You know, where you don't have a bed, maybe, you know, Lutheran Social Services, who I've had on the show, you know, and we can work that way, you know. So it's always going to be important that we keep building the collaborative, and there's a collaborative, a very large collaborative, i.e. Reentry Collaborative, and I keep telling everybody about it, Anthony, because I want everybody who's doing reentry to join it, because I feel like the more people that join and say I have these resources, then the easier it will become to be able to get these persons coming out of incarceration stabilized.
And I do want to include the clinical community
Yes.
in this conversation.
Why is that important, Anthony?
Because it is so crucial that clients address any mental health issues, past harm that may have been portrayed or put on them in their youth or as a child in some cases, that have caused them to react in a way or to respond to society in a way, in a negative way.
Right.
And if the clinical community, we really need to get them closer.
We do.
Particularly when it comes to, it's valuable, is helping those clients adjust to a new life.
Yes.
When it comes to operating in a job,
Right.
operating and stabilizing themselves in housing, and more particularly, operating and stabilizing themselves with their family
Families, yes.
members.
Amen.
And to me, I think over the 30 years, where I have seen our clients kind of go off on the wayside is when they did not address their mental health
Yes.
issues.
Yes.
And, you know.
You
And,
just can't come out of jail like not traumatized, man.
oh my goodness.
You know?
Oh my
And then
goodness.
if you went in traumatized, well, of course you went in traumatized. You did something. And if you got to go through the court system any kind of way, that's traumatizing.
Yes. And living incarceration is trauma.
Yes.
And so they get let loose and nobody's addressing
And nobody's addressing that.
you know. And if there was violence that happened,
Or if they came from violence, or if they had to
Yeah,
portray violence
yes,
on somebody,
yes.
maybe for, maybe it could be family, it could be
Yes.
for survival. We
Yes.
don't know a lot of the time what they went in for, what they, just that they served their time.
yeah.
But
So-
you are exactly right. We work with a group now. They're out of San Bernardino University, Cal State San Bernardino. They're called FAITHS, FAITHS, FAITHS. And they are reentry, they do reentry counseling. It's all free because they're doing research. But they have counselors, group therapies, every kind of therapy, every type of healing service that you could possibly. So we've been directing our clients that are coming from reentry there. And then I met some wonderful people today that they do the same kind of work in the county. And I was like, you know what? These are the folks we need to be grabbing a hold on to, so that when we get these clients, we say the first thing, you know what, we gonna sign you in, do your intake, and then we gonna make your appointment.
Exactly.
And
Because it's so at least at minimum, get an assessment.
Exactly.
And it's not about putting people on medication.
Nope, it's not.
It's about helping people recover
yes,
from their past lives
right,
so that their future life
right.
do not turn
Because
into.
unless you've been incarcerated or know somebody that's incarcerated, and even if you know somebody that's incarcerated, they're telling you how they handled it or we have no idea what it does to a person for, any amount of length of time. But for, let's say, long-term incarceration, we have no idea what that does to a person's. We have a sense of it because we work with the population post-incarceration. But we don't know what it takes to survive in that. You can watch all the movies and read all the books and everything. But I know that almost every single one of the clients that I've had the pleasure of being in their experience of reentry are different. Mm-hmm. They're all different. Mm-hmm. And they have different needs.
Exactly. But I think, again, I go back to ignore that
Yes.
is doing injustice
Further harm.
and further harm.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, that's why I just really
You can't just
wholeheartedly-
blanket offer
Yeah.
blanket services.
Exactly. You have to have those crucial services that help the underlying issues.
Sometimes they need to get attached to those services first before anything else could happen.
Ooh,
Right before
You
anything,
have told the truth.
before there's a job search or a training class or anything. Some of that you got to get I know for you or for me, I know I got to get my mind right every morning just to walk out the door.
Exactly.
These days,
Exactly.
So it's to have somebody walking out of prison doors after so long and thinking, oh, okay, they just focus now. They learned their lesson. They focus now.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Or that they have the skills.
Right.
And I always say this, our job is not to set these clients up for failure.
No.
Our job is to set these clients up for success,
Long-term success.
long-term success.
Now, you know that nothing we do to help a formerly incarcerated person through our program matters if they don't stay in for at least a year.
Ooh,
You know?
amen. I tell
So
you.
that's always, I always keep that in mind. I says, I need to keep this person stabilized and productive for at least a year before we can count it as success.
And to get them in, because they're so different people.
Yes.
And you're not going to figure out a person in a month or two. You're
No.
just not.
No.
you got to be able to track that person over time,
Right.
and so that they can be willing
Right.
to get out of themselves and expose themselves to the professional,
Right.
so that they can provide them the plan that they need
Right.
in order to say, okay. And I always say coping skills is key.
Key. Yep.
Especially when you have a lot of people who may have anger problems.
Right.
You have a lot of people who just have behavior issues, and they don't know how to deal with a person
Right.
who may
And
be yelling
they
at them.
don't get that rehabilitation in prison like people think. You know, they get a lot. They learn a lot of skills. They have some opportunities for employment, learn a lot of skills. You know, they can get certificates and everything. But there is nothing like having to come back out and deal with the people that you had to deal with before you went in, and they don't know you who you are now because you've been gone for 10 or 15 or 12 years. What I want to ask you, what do you, from the community, what do you need them to understand, especially when it comes to trying to employ our population of reentry?
Well, I think the main thing is having a platform for the employer and the employee to be able to come to in mind. So if you have employers who have an understanding of who's going to be walking through their doors and let go of all their judgment, their beliefs about that person, and then allowing them to get the support that they need to stabilize in that job,
Yeah,
become successful.
yeah, yeah.
And it's about all that combination, and it has to be a team effort.
And it's not. It doesn't matter that you got to hold their hand through it a little bit. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and for a lot of these are folks who come into this situation, you don't have to hold their hand, but you have to have an understanding
Yes, yes.
of who can
Who-
just walk through your door.
Exactly. I think that there's lots of room for education from, for the community, for the public. And I think no better people to learn from than, the social service folks that serve this population. And I would like to see a lot more communication with the community about the advantages of hiring a reentry person. People don't, there's a lack of education about reentry and what it is and how it works. People, they just assume, oh, you did your time and, bye-bye and you're done. No. Sometimes they are on, depending upon their, their charges or what have you, or the conditions of their release, they could be on probation for years. They could be on supervision. They could be on parole for years. They are still going to have stipulations and rules controlling their lives that don't necessarily, nobody else, just, the population, outside doesn't have, we don't have to go through that.
Yeah.
We don't have to make sure that we get a job within, 60 days, or we have to save so much money in, 30 days. I think if I had some of these conditions, I would probably be in a better place, because I think the goal is for them to stabilize, but those are still restrictions.
Well, I think one of the barriers that I can speak to with the clients that I'm serving is, I know everybody's kind of familiar with this term, felony friendly employer.
Yeah, felony friendly employers, second chance employers. Yeah.
Or second chance employers. And I am happy that there's employers out there who
Yes.
have opened up their doors.
Yes.
But I think that, again, we need to do more work
Yes.
with those, because a lot of times, my guys, they will get all the way up to the point of getting employed, and that last step,
Right.
that not just because, even with, I've had guys tell me that the people that interviewed them just loved them. But it was when they got to the
background.
corporate
Yeah.
part of a decision on whether they are going to hire that person,
Yeah.
they get chopped off
Yeah.
at the head.
It's terrible.
And I had one client that an agency spent $4,000 training that participant.
Oh, you have to know.
And when the final decision got up to corporate, oh my God,
That was it.
that was it.
Yeah. Too bad for that company
Yes,
that you're going to invest $4,000 in to train somebody who you obviously thought was good,
yes.
and you let that person go because of a background or something.
Or whatever reason.
For whatever reason,
that
yeah.
you just, you know.
So, phooey on you, agent company. But that's, I think, what I want people to know. I want people to know that the folks that are coming out that are reincarcerated are motivated people to stay out of prison, to do, they want to go to work. They want gainful employment. They want to be able to buy their own things. They want to, we do reentry placement, employment placement. Our employers that hire our people love our people.
And it's sad that, like you're saying, I'm not saying 100% of the guys have their heads on correct, because they have a lot of issues.
Right.
But we have opportunities for those who are ready.
Who are ready. Yeah.
And when they're ready, we have to seize the
We
moment.
have to seize the moment.
And if we don't seize the moment,
We're going to lose them.
it becomes a cycle for these
It
guys.
does. It does.
And they go in and out. And I'm not just talking about men, women,
Yes.
youth,
Yes. Yes.
youth
Yes.
that are ready
Yeah.
to move on. And and when those barriers that are unforeseen by that participant,
Yep.
particularly when they've been, through the whole process, they've been told,
Yes.
you are right for my company.
Right.
We want to hire you.
Right.
And you get there, and they get there, and all of a sudden, oh my God, they're at ground zero again.
Right. I know there's a law out. There's a new law. I was at Shelter Court today, and I was talking about the law with one of the employment workforce development guys, and I think, and he says that we don't say second chance or felony friendly anymore, because our advice to our clients is to go and apply for the job.
Yeah,
Just go apply for the job
yeah,
and see how far you get. And
Exactly.
you're applying like anybody else.
exactly.
Because it's kind of re-stigmatizing, for I got for a reentry person, I got a job there, second chance job, Well, you're not working for free.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And I also think, some of the things, a lot of times we have providers who are able to provide those housing. And when we are housing that clients to prepare them to get to that independency, and when they are cut off at the knees,
Because of their
then
background.
through the background, then what happens is then we have to start that person all over again.
Over again.
But their housing doesn't get started all over again.
Right.
And then we have this limited time to try to pick this person up,
Right.
motivate them, help them keep going. And, and I always feel like I have to do a better job once they walk through my door.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to get.
Did you feel responsible?
Yeah. Because we have to bring them to realization.
Yes.
You have this short amount of time.
I know.
And if you're motivated, there's
Just the stress of that.
Ooh.
Just the stress of that,
Ooh.
I want therapy just to have to,
You know.
I think we have a few minutes. You want to go to break, Eric, for a minute? Okay. Oh, wonderful conversation. Oh, this is just wonderful. All right, San Bernardino, we'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda. Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pau de Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus does not grow on. As a result, it naturally has antifungal, anti-infection, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can be truly miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TahiboTeaClub.com. Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E, B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TahiboTeaClub.com, or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TahiboTeaClub.com.
KCAA.
Hello, San Bernardino. We're back. Shazette, we're working in the margins. We are on KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. And I am sitting here with Anthony Brazier. We are just caught up in conversation about our reentry population and how we all can do better, and how we need education, and we need understanding, and we need open minds. And it's not our place to judge. These folks, you know, they did their time, they're coming out. And if they are, you know, if they are dangerous people, then they're not coming out. Hopefully, you know, that they're not letting out folks that would still consider to be dangerous or anything, you know, but, and it's not our place to say, you know, every person that's reentry deserves, you know, but here between, you know, Family Assistance Program and Mr. Anthony Brazier at reentry coordinating and housing supportive services, we're going to do everything we can to help the ones that want the help. We're just going to keep doing that, right?
Yeah.
So I want to thank you, Anthony. Your community thanks you. I think that with your contributions to our community, you come to our meetings and you speak out and you advocate for the reentry population. And I just think you're a good advocate. I think you're a good, you know, I'm always like, okay, you know, I'm paying attention. I'm watching. I see you, sir. And I want you to grow. I want you to continue to develop your programs.
You know, and I think, Suzette, I think both of us feel like we have a purpose in life.
Yes, yes.
And part of it is hopefully helping change lives.
Lives. Yeah, that's the mission.
That's the mission.
That's the mission. Thank you so much.
No worries.
For coming.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
So community, I got a few things I want to share with you, some resources, you know, that's what I do. And then what I'm sharing with you, I want you to, you can follow, I'm attached the hashtag. Some of these I've already attached the hashtag, hashtag working in the margins with Z. So if you go on socials, I have all those socials, Substack, Reddit, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, all of them, believe it or not. And I'm trying to manage to keep up with them. I don't know, but it seems like a lot. But and then on YouTube, you can watch this this video when it drops on YouTube. It's been dropping like within about 24 hours. But I want to share some resources, some things that are coming up. People send me things and say, can you mention it on the show? And I'm like, absolutely, of course, especially if it's in our community. So the Inland Empire Lowrider Alliance, and this one's not till April 19th, but it was like the most recent one. So Inland Empire Lowrider Alliance is having their 14th annual Easter picnic. It's Saturday, April 19th, and it's at Fairmount Park, and it's in Riverside. And you can look it up under Inland Empire Lowrider Alliance. I met So I don't know if how many people know that Borrego, they were over like on D Street and like 6th over in downtown San Bernardino. So the county took it over as public health and its clinics. So it's a health center, and it's at 590 North D Street, San Bernardino. And they have everything: primary care, pediatrics, dental, immunizations, and that's great, because we also have another clinic called St. John's, and it's on Waterman, like kind of North Waterman, and they have sort of the same services, and so that's fantastic, that we have these clinics to be able to help some of our folks that are on the street that aren't able to get services to get serviced. So the IECF, that's the Inland Empire's Community Foundation. They're having a free home buyer workshop in the Inland Empire down payment assistance. The flyer says up to $40,000 available, eligible San Bernardino and Riverside County home buyers. It's a virtual workshop, limited space, and it's Thursday, March 6th. So if you follow my hashtag, Working in the Margins with Z, you will find these flyers attached to that hashtag. There's an immigration. Also, when this downloads as the video, you can get a piece of paper and then backtrack and pause and rewind and do that thing and write down the information. So there's an immigration clinic, and it's in Riverside, but I'm sharing because if you can get to Riverside, I recommend, if you need immigration assistance, because I'm asking around from my folks that do, and they're saying that the immigration services are here, but you got to kind of look for them. So this is an immigration legal clinic, and it's at UCR, and it's Saturday, March 22nd. And there's going to be like consultations, and they're going to do like Know Your Rights workshops. So I want people to avail themselves. So look up under UCR, or you can look under IE Legal Clinic, and that's where you can find information. So I think, so there's going to be a hiring event, and it's with Workforce Development, and it's going to be in Fontana. They move these around throughout the county. So this one is in Fontana. It's on March 12th, and it's the Jack Bullock Sports Center. So if you go on to America Job Center, Google America Job Center's Fontana work hiring event, but it's also going to be on my hashtag, so you won't have to do all that. There was another, here it is. Okay. This is a job fair. It's through Cityway. It's a job fair and community resource day. It's with the Way World Outreach in San Bernardino. It's 4680 Hallmark. There's a QR code on here to register. The date is March 13th, and it's from 9 to 2. And it's Job Fair 2025 at eventbrite.com. So you have to register, I think. No, that's just for employers, but you can find the information. It's also, I posted this online also. So we've come to the end of this week's show. It's the last show of Black History Month. I'm happy that I was able to bring you a lot of our community of color, Black folks that doing stuff here in San Bernardino here to the big table, so we could meet you and talk to you, and you can meet them. My quote for today: there may be times when we are powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest.